I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot. I'm coming in hot.
And here we go.
Okay. Hello, and welcome back to the Holy Toasters podcast.
First one. Here we go.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Griff. And we're the Holy Toasters. So we this is our first one, and we're pretty excited to get this going.
We tried this once and we had a little
Exactly. We had a little hiccup, but
we already recorded almost the entire podcast, but it's okay.
Sometimes it happens like that, you know. So yeah.
So yeah. Let's just start off with where we got the idea for the podcast and like how we met.
Sure. So we were discussing this earlier. It's kind of funny. If you guys have read anything like any of my testimonies or blogs or anything, you know that I moved from Texas to Tennessee. And when we moved, the first thing that we wanted to get, like me and my family, was a church home. That was like the big thing. Was like we need to find a church home. And you know, so we went to Providence, and that's where I met Ethan. And we have two very differently distinct ideas of that first day. So you can go.
I guess I should go first, maybe. So we met in our student ministry. It was like our middle school ministry. It was like beginning of or summer of 8th grade year, or before 8th grade year.
4th grade year, yeah.
So Griff comes in one day, and one of our interns, Ashley, introduces me to Griff, and she's like, "Hey, this is Griff. He's gonna be an 8th grader too." And I was kind of just like, "Okay." I was like, "Yeah, nice to meet you," and then I kind of just like went off.
Yeah.
But like that was kind of like, I was a very introverted person, so it was kind of weird for me to be introduced to him, and then kind of like the way the Griff is very like what's the word?
Watch your words. Watch your words.
Extroverted.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what it is. I had it on the tip of my tongue. I was like,
that's what it was. Sure.
And so I wasn't a big fan of loud people, and Griff's a loud person.
Yeah.
But we didn't really hit it off the first day we met. We had a lot of hiccups, like as far as like me thinking that he was very annoying in the first, like 6 months or so.
There was a long period where me and Ethan like maybe said like 2 words to each other.
I was just kind of like hoping he would shut up during the service and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So David, come sit between them, please.
Yeah, for real. So that was the summer before 8th grade year, and I think the thing that like big hit it off between me and you, which is, it's kind of weird to say this because it's so crazy to me that this is what happened, but me and my buddy Sam, our buddy Sam, who's in our small group, we're talking about playing PlayStation, and Ethan was like, "Oh, y'all have a PlayStation, you know, maybe we should play together." I was like, "Yeah, for sure." So we started playing PlayStation together more often, and you know, it turned into this like every day, all day. Me and Ethan would just like, and I think it was Call of Duty Zombies is what like me and you would just sit and grind Call of Duty Zombies.
That multiplayer, which you were terrible at.
Yeah,
but it was still fun.
Exactly. So that's how this really hit off. And like after that, we just kind of started hanging out all the time. Like after church, before church, you know, we would go, like we would show up to church like 35, 40 minutes earlier just to hang out with each other. So that was kind of where that started to like bloom, I think, and it's turned into something incredible that I don't think some people get like the full like caught like how strong of a friendship this is. Like,
Yeah.
like I think some people kind of understand, but like when I talk about like my best friend, like it's like beyond words. So that's that guy. So the toasters actually was a very interesting concept because it actually kind of started as a joke. Like,
Yeah.
like the toasters actually kind of started as a joke. So I mean, you want to hit on that?
Yeah. So the way that the Holy Toaster started was, I think I was kind of thinking about doing a blog or something like that, and I started tossing the idea around to a couple of friends.
Yeah.
And Griff was kind of just like, yeah, that would be a really cool idea. What if we could turn it into like a blog and podcast together?
Yeah.
We could kind of like run it, try and like share content. And so we were kind of just talking about it, and then I was talking to my friend Jordan about it. Griff knows Jordan. We're all friends. Yeah. But so yeah. But I was talking about it with Jordan one day, and the idea of like legitimately doing it came around, and I was like, okay, what am I gonna call this?
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I think the Holy Toasters, a place to get your daily bread,
Yeah.
be a great idea. And
it was around that time where everybody was like, yo, let's get this bread, you know? It was like a joke. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so it was it's like that, and then a play on words of like the Lord's Prayer. So you put them together, and that's kind of where this whole like slogan ended up. So, and I'm gonna look through my photos later. I swear, I have a conversation between you and Jordan screenshotted on my phone of you guys coming up with that, and I want to find a place to put that if I can find it, because it's so cool to see how far we come. So it was this idea we had in the first semester of school, and we started to put together like what we would want to do, the ideas, everything behind it, and we didn't have any equipment. Like we were like, we don't have any computers, we don't have any mics, we don't have anything, and so we waited, we put it off, blah blah blah, and around my birthday in January, I got my laptop, which I'm using right now actually, and that's like, as soon as I got it, I was like, I know what I want to do, and we went for it. So within like a month of me having, not even a month, maybe like a week and a half of me having this computer, we had a complete website. We had all the things, and that's kind of where we were for a long time. We were super on fire about it. Like, we were going to do blogs and all this kind of stuff. And I think one of the things that I think we struggled with the most was like trying to make it such a like high production, thing that we didn't even do a lot of stuff that we could have been doing. Like, we could have done, a lot of content that I felt like, I was like, well, I feel like it's not going to be that good, so I'm not going to do it. In reality, we should have just been like, let's do it,
Right.
Yeah. So, and that took us into the spring of this year, which was kind of, touchy because both of us were so busy. And then that takes us into summer and where we are now. So,
so this summer we have a lot of exciting things coming. And, we have a big announcement that will
coming later.
We'll put out in the next podcast.
Later.
Yeah. It'll come out soon. And this kind of developed from Beach Camp, and it was kind of Griff's idea. So if you want to explain that.
Yeah. So we had this big idea that we're gonna share with you guys, and I think it was such it's such a good thing that we're gonna get to be involved in. So I'm excited. Hopefully we can get this together within the week. Hopefully. So, and then another thing I kind of wanted to touch on is the website. I put some updated stuff on there. I've been working on it for like the last day or two, just trying to make sure it looks good, everything sounds good, and so on and so forth. And I'm not quite done yet with the social medias and stuff, just making sure everything looks good there. But we're getting there. And lastly, we are going to make more content, and that is a yes. And that's not like we have ideas. This is like like, we've been planning to do a vlog forever, and I was finally like, yeah, I'm screwed, I'm doing it, and I did a beach camp vlog.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think it's really just trying to find a balance between all that we're doing in the summer, and then, I mean, we have a lot of free time, but it's also like there's so much that we need to do, like between blogs and then making actual podcasts and stuff like that. I think we have a lot that we want to do.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try and be more consistent, like 100%. But
and also trying to find a balance between like real life and this. Like this, I'm not saying this isn't real, but like trying to find a balance between like, because I still gotta clean my room today. So there's some like
see how dirty my room is right
exactly.
now.
Like I still gotta clean my room later. I have a game tonight, so for me, it's trying to balance this like this, which is very super important to me, and also the things in real life which are also super very important to me. So that's something that me and him talked about before beach camp. So more about beach camp coming in the next podcast. That's what the next one's going to be about. If you're wondering, beach camp is the next podcast, and I'm super excited about that. So, and lastly, the thing I want to do, and I think I want to do this in every podcast, and I think this is something good to do, is kind of talk about what's been moving in you this week. Like what's been moving in your heart this week? What have you been thinking about? So I'm gonna let Ethan go first, and then I'll go. So.
Okay. So on I guess it was Thursday night of beach camp.
Yep. Thursday night.
We had this long talk. Everybody. It was probably a group of 8 or 9 of us.
8 or 9, yeah, something like that.
We all kind of just sat down in the gazebo at the place we were staying, and we kind of just had a long talk and kind of like talking about the week and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so we get done probably around 1:30. And Griff and I come in. We come into our rooms, and everyone else is asleep, and so we're just like, we were getting ready to go to bed, and so we were in the bathroom, like kind of like whisper talking, like having a little conversation. So like we get done with that, we were kind of just like talking about like leadership and how it's hard sometimes to feel qualified for being a leader at like I'm about to be a leader at our late camp, our middle school camp. And so we were kind of just talking about like what it means to like be qualified to be a leader at camp or something like that. And so we eventually moved into like we got in bed and stuff like that, and we were kind of just like continuing the conversation over text.
Ethan, so I'm in the bottom bunk, and Ethan's like directly above me, and we're having this text conversation. While this is happening.
So we're sitting there, and we're kind of talking, and I was just like, it's hard to feel qualified sometimes, and Griff kind of pointed it out, like no one in our church is perfect. No one can be a perfect leader. And I think he made a really good point about that. And something that I kind of took from that was like, it takes a person who's been broken to lead a person who is broken. And I think that's a really good point, that like not everyone is perfect. Not every leader that you meet is going to be the perfect person. But like you have to understand that they've been where you are. They've been broken. And so they understand how to kind of help you out of that. And that's kind of like what a leader is. So I don't know if you have anything to elaborate on that, but
no, I think you hit that right on the head, because that was like, because I you'd been kind of struggling with like the feeling qualified and thing, and that's something that I've always had to realize, is that as much as like we look up to these people, they're not perfect as much as we want them to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was I think that was a big thing for us to realize. So that was a good thing. So is that all you got on yours?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So mine kind of stems from also something we talked about at beach camp. We'll talk about this more when the next podcast comes out. But one thing we talked about was this idea of the difference between joy and happiness. Happiness is like kind of short term. It's in the moment, and joy is something that lasts for 100 years, thousands of years, forever. Joy is everlasting. So one thing that really stuck out to me this week, after getting back from beach camp, actually, is I was listening to this song called "Get Back Right" by Lecrae. And there's one part of the song where he's talking about things of this world, and I really liked it. He's talking about, he says, bottles on bottles and bottles and models and models and models and dollars. And he's talking about like money and drinking and money and women, like all these things that he could have if he wanted them. But he goes on to say, that don't help me when my soul want to holler, when I'm feeling the pain and I'm dealing with drama. So he's like saying, look, like as much as these things would be nice to have, right? They don't matter because they bring me happiness in the moment. But when my soul is crying out and, he's struggling, these things aren't going to help. It's God that's going to, really you're going to feel joy through him. So I feel like that was a big thing that for me is that like, I think the word I've really stuck by is like self-control, being able to make the right decision for the right reason. And instead of just being in the moment, being like, okay, whatever, and just being able to, abide and, let God take the driver's seat instead of like me being like, oh, it's whatever, I think that was kind of the big thing for me. Do you want to elaborate on that at all? Like the idea of like joy and happiness or anything?
So I think the only thing that I can elaborate with, really is something that we talked about, is like joy will bring you, joy is something that 1,000 years later, it'll still bring you joy. It'll sustain you in that way.
Yeah.
And the thing about happiness is fleeting.
Exactly.
Happiness is really only available for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And something that goes along with that, like spiritually, is like, sin promises everything and then ultimately gives you nothing.
Yeah.
In the long run. And I think that's the thing about happiness is like happiness is only available for a short period of time, but like with joy, if you're finding your joy in Jesus, then that'll ultimately bring you strength and happiness for, I guess I shouldn't use the word happiness, but like joy for infinitely longer. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly. So yeah, that's definitely what's been on my mind this week. You got anything else?
I think that's about it. I don't know if we have any more topics to hit on.
No, I mean most of the topics I think we're gonna hit on next time. This is just kind of a
podcast is gonna be a longer one for sure.
Yeah, this is just kind of giving you an update, letting you guys know what's going on. And so the next one's gonna be a banger, dude. It's gonna be a banger. I'm pretty excited about it. So
we got some big things coming. And outside of that, I think this has been the Holy Toasters podcast.
Heck yeah, it has. So we thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.